Good morning, Vietnam. No, I'm just kidding. Good morning, KMA tribe, friends, family, students. This morning, I want to talk to you about mission accomplishment. I want to tell you a couple stories from different times in my life. One's from just this morning, and one's from lots and lots of years ago. Uh, so, the first was this morning. I was on my morning knowledge walk, and I pulled my calf muscle last week though, so I was able to still get in a good little walk. It was like 5,000 steps in with Krav, and I was still listening to some great stuff. Grant Cardone was laying it down this morning, but my calf was hurting more and more, and so I made a decision to turn around and come back, and and it got me thinking about mission accomplishment and how mission accomplishment, the idea of accomplishing our mission, there's certain things that you have to do, but also that the way in which we approach mission accomplishment depends on where we are in the law of the process, where we are in our stages of life, and what our missions are. So the first thing that I think, of course, is absolutely relevant, absolutely imperative, and honestly, Grant Cardone agrees with me on this, or I agree with him rather. He's been laying it down a lot longer than I. Is that commitment is the first and foremost thing that is required. In the absence of real commitment, Grant says nothing great can ever be accomplished, and I agree with that. I think that commitment is the thing that creates supernatural achievement and mission accomplishment. I remember when I was a young paratrooper in the 82nd Airborne Division, that was probably, I didn't realize it at the time. I honestly did not, but that was probably one of the great blessings of my life is that I grew up in the 82nd Airborne. That is, I was there from like 86 to 89, very young man. And, really, it was my first time really away from home doing something. And what a group of men to do it with. And what I learned there is that, mission first, people always. And I learned that, you get it done. It doesn't matter what it takes. You get it done. You can go over the hill, around the hill, or through the hill, but you get it done. And that attitude has served me so well for all of my life. Having said that, I started by telling you that this morning I turned around and walked home. And it's because I knew what today's mission is. I know what my most important missions are. And while I enjoy my morning knowledge walks, and they're a great part of sharpening the sword, it's great, level 2 cardio activity and great exercise for me because I do it pretty quick. It's great because I get to walk Krav, which my wife loves, and it's great because I'm always listening to some great personal professional development, which of course is sharpening the sword, all those things. But I knew that I have like a 15-hour day today that's going to finish with me teaching the black belts tonight. And I knew that me making my calf horse was not the most imperative milestone to the mission today. Now, contrast that to back in those in the 80s when I remember a time that I jumped into a deployment with the 82nd Airborne Division, and I knew that I had hurt my ankle on the landing. Found out later it was severely sprained because many days later when I finally took that boot off, I wouldn't have got that boot back on. But the point of the story is then I was like a private first class, I think. I wasn't an officer yet. I wasn't involved in the planning. I wasn't involved in the decision making. I wasn't involved in anything except what my part of this mission was. So I knew that going out injured at that moment in time would mean, at best case that I was out of the mission. I would have failed in my part of the mission. And at worst case that I would negatively affected the rest of the mission and the rest of my team. So at that moment in time, continuing on through the pain was the right answer because that was my part of the mission. Today, of course, because the most important work that I do is leading my teams and training my black belts and lots of other important stuff that'll happen here today, finishing that walk was not the most important part of the day. So see, mission accomplishment is vitally critical, but it doesn't always mean the same thing. So one of the things that I think is I think it was illuminated in the story, but one of the principles, one of the Black Belt leadership principles we teach here is win. What's important now and what's important next. That is what we have to focus on. We know that focus is the first Black Belt superpower, and we know that energy flows where focus goes. And so we need to focus that energy in the direction that actually helps us move towards mission accomplishment in our most important roles and goals. I hope this has been helpful to you this day. Prepare to live, empower to lead. I'm Sean Steve with KMMA.